Hello everyone. In this video we look at the Lewis and Kozel theory that try to explain the idea of chemical bonding, mostly to deal with the electrovalent bond, which is later came to be known as the ionic bond. So it started with the Lewis kernel model, where Lewis pictured atom in terms of a positively charged kernel. So positively charged kernel, why? Because the nucleus plus inner electrons, they'll be forming the kernel. So as you can see in the representation over here, and the outer shell which can accommodate a maximum of 8 electrons, because if you look at the elements that we have, we will be able to see that the maximum number of electrons outermost shell will have is 8. That will happen for the inert gas elements. So the kernel would be surrounded by the outermost shell electrons, and these outermost electrons, right, they will be occupying the corners of a cube, okay, so which will be surrounding the kernel. So this is the visualization of the kernel model that is proposed by Lewis. And if you look at the elements like sodium, which will have only one electron, so only one of the corner of the cube will be occupied. So while in the case of the noble gases, right, all the 8 corners will be occupied. And when all the 8 corners are occupied, right, this is what will be representing the octet of electrons, which will be considered as a stable electronic arrangement, because the noble gases do not react. So this visualization, as per the Lewis initial idea of why the elements would combine, or why the elements would form a chemical bond, is to basically occupy all the 8 corners, and they will be doing it, or they will be achieving that stable octet by the means of chemical bonding. So this is the initial idea of kernel model that is proposed by Lewis. I mean, the only thing is in terms of the picturization of how kernel would exist, which will be a positively charged kernel, which will consist of the nucleus plus the inner shell electrons. And he visualized the outer shell electrons to occupy the 8 corners of a cube. That's the kind of an kernel visualization that he has given as per the initial theories that is proposed. And along with Kozel, because they have worked independently, and also jointly they have proposed the octet rule. So octet rule is considered as the basis for explaining why chemical bonding would occur. So the theory proposed by both Kozel and Lewis, according to which the atoms will be combining either by means of transfer of valence electrons. So here, the concept of chemical bonding is only related to the valence electrons, but we will see when we go to the D and F block elements, right, not only the valence electrons but the inner shell electrons also will participate in the chemical bonding, which is something that's not explained based on the octet rule. So octet rule only deals with the valence electrons. So the valence electrons, the atoms will either transfer the valence electrons. Transferring means what? It is either about losing or gaining, or by sharing of valence electrons. So as per the Lewis and Kozel theory of octet rule, atoms will be combining either by the transfer of electrons. Transfer means what? If, say for example, one atom is losing, means other will be gaining. The other means is sharing of electrons. So by doing it, the atoms will be able to have octet in their valence shell. And this theory, which is based on the stability of 8 electron structure in the valence shell, is what we call as the octet rule. Okay, so how this 8 electrons will be obtained in the valence shell, we will be able to discuss about it. Okay, and the theory that is proposed by the Lewis and Kozel in terms of the octet rule is also known as electronic theory of chemical bonding. So why in the introduction part of the chemical bonding, we have talked about different concepts of explaining chemical bonding. One is by using the force method, other is by using energy method, and in this method we are talking about the stability associated with 8 electrons outermost shell electronic arrangement. And here the chemical bonding is explained based on the attainment of this 8 electrons arrangement in the outermost orbit, and that is the reason why this theory is also called as what, electronic theory of chemical bonding. So the causal postulates which explain prominently the so-called electrovalent bond will give an idea of how the atoms will be able to achieve the octet. So as per the causal remarks, when we look at the position of elements in the periodic table, right, what we see is that the highly electronegative element, which is halogen, and highly electropositive element, which is alkali metals, right, they are just separated by noble gases. How? So if you look at the second period, lithium, so we'll come all the way up to fluorine, then comes neon, then comes sodium. So don't think that the distance between lithium and fluorine is only be achieved by covering all the other elements. So lithium, after lithium, what will come? Beryllium, then boron, then carbon, nitrogen, oxygen. Not in this manner, but look at the fluorine, whose atomic number is 9, and sodium, whose atomic number is 11. These two are separated by just the inert gas element or the noble gas element, which is having atomic number 10. And if you look at the electronic arrangement of neon, right, the overall electronic arrangement is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, but the valence arrangement is what? 2s2, 2p6. This is the 8 electron structure in the outermost shell, octet structure. And what we'll be able to see is that, and this is the stable electronic configuration, because the neon, of course, does not form any chemical compounds. The formation of negative ion from halogen atom, right, and even the formation of positive ion from alkali metal will be associated with what? The gain of electrons in the case of halogen and loss of electron in the case of the alkali metal. And if you look at what is going to happen, say for example, we'll talk about sodium. Sodium, what is the arrangement is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s1. If the sodium is losing one electron, right, what would happen? It will become Na plus. And the Na plus arrangement will be 1s2, 2s2, 2p6. So by losing electron, sodium, third orbit, which is the valence orbit, has completely now vanished. Now what is the outermost shell for Na plus? Now it is the second orbit. You look at what is the electronic arrangement of the second orbit, it is what? 2s2, 2p6, 8 electron structure. And similarly, if you talk about the fluorine, fluorine is what? 1s2, 2s2, 2p5. If fluorine is gaining one electron, means it will become what? This is fluorine, and it will become what? 1s2, 2s2, 2p6. This is F minus. So what we are seeing is the negative ion that is formed by gaining one electron for halogen, and the positive ion that is formed by losing of one electron from sodium, right? These two are able to attain the stable noble gas electronic configuration. We can see Na plus, what is the configuration? Outermost shell configuration is 2s2, 2p6. Fluorine, what is the F minus? F minus, what is the outermost shell configuration? 2s2, 2p6. So sodium by losing electron and fluorine by gaining electron, they are able to achieve the stable electronic arrangement in the outermost shell. And this is the idea of why the atoms will have a tendency to lose or gain electrons, basically transferring electrons. By doing so, they will be able to attain the stable electronic configuration of the noble metals. And the noble metals, right, except for helium, they will be having the 8 electron structure in the valence orbit or the outermost shell. So in this, the helium is an exception, because helium will have only what? Helium electronic arrangement is 2s2. It will only have a duplet. Okay. So what we see is by losing or gaining electrons, the elements will be able to achieve this 8 electron stable structure in the outermost shell. And this configuration is associated with stability. So what is the basis for that? The basis is that inert gas elements, they don't react. The so-called inert gas elements, whether it is neon or argon, krypton, xenon, radon, okay. So of course we will see in a little while that xenon and radon, they also will be able to participate in the chemical bonding, but leaving them out, the noble gases in general, right, they will not be able to participate in any chemical reactions. So that is what is the reason for the octet concept. So the 8 electron structure in the outermost shell is supposed to have that stability, and by the transfer of electrons the other elements also can achieve this octet structure. And not just that, the causal postulates, right, they have helped in understanding of how the electrovalent bond would get formed. So if you look at the electrovalent bond, which we'll later start calling as ionic bond, we will be having formation of positive ions and negative ions. So how this positive ions and negative ions will further get attracted to form what we call as an ionic lattice or ionic crystal is something that we will be able to see later. Okay, but what happens is these positive and negative ions that are formed, right, they will not be just staying apart, they will be coming together, and the reason for this is electrostatic force of attraction. So the positive charge and negative charge, because they are unlike charges, they will attract each other, and by attracting they will be forming what we call as an ionic lattice or ionic crystal. Okay, and that is how the ionic compounds will be existing. So this bond that is happening between the oppositely charged ions is what we'll call as electrovalent bond, and also known as what, ionic bond. Okay, so this is how the ionic bond will be happening. So ionic bond is beginning with the transfer of electrons, but ultimately what is the reason for the ionic bond formation to happen? It is the attractive force, electrostatic attractive force between the oppositely charged ions formed. And whenever the electrovalent bond is formed, we will talk about the concept of electrovalence. So electrovalence basically means whatever is the unit charge on that particular ion. Let's say for example in this case, right, if you talk about Na plus means what is the unit number of units of charge here? 1, right? So we'll say electrovalence of sodium is 1 unit positive. Similarly, if you talk about say F minus, so we'll be saying the electrovalence of fluorine is 1 unit negative. So basically whatever is the charge, right, that is there on the respective ions, we will consider it as the electrovalence of the particular element. Okay, so in case of the electrovalent bond, we will talk about electrovalence. In case of covalent bond, we will talk about the covalence. Now if you start looking at some examples, say sodium is there with electronic configuration. So sodium electronic configuration, right, we can also write it as what, neon 3s1, because what is the actual electronic configuration of sodium? 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s1, right? What is this 1s2, 2s2, 2p6? This is neon arrangement. So sodium arrangement can be also written as what, neon 3s1. After losing electron, it becomes sodium plus, means this electron is lost. It is what, just neon arrangement. It is able to achieve the octet or the noble gas configuration. Chlorine on the other hand, by gaining electron, it will form Cl minus. Chlorine is what, neon 3s2, 3p5. After gaining electron, it will be forming what, neon 3s2, 3p6. Otherwise, what is this, argon configuration. So the Na plus and Cl minus, they will come together because of the electrostatic force, and that will be forming the ionic crystal or ionic lattice of the sodium chloride. So that is how the sodium chloride compound will be getting formed. And in this case, what we say, the electrovalence of sodium is what, it is positive 1, and electrovalence of chlorine is what, it is a negative 1. So that is how we will talk about the electrovalence. So how do we get the electrovalence? We look at when the ions are getting formed, what is the number of electrons gained by the anion, that will be its electrovalence. We will take it as a negative. Cation means we look at what is the number of electrons lost, and that we will be taking as the electrovalence, but it will be positive. We'll talk about another example. If you look at calcium, calcium is what, argon 4s2, 20 electrons. It can lose 2 electrons. By losing 2 electrons, it will become argon. On the other hand, the fluorine will gain 1 electron to form F minus. So if it is forming F minus, right, then the fluorine normal arrangement is what, helium 2s2, 2p5. After gaining 1 electron, it becomes helium 2s2, 2p6. That is nothing but our neon configuration. So what we will see is that for every 1 calcium, we are getting 2 electrons. The 2 electrons will be taken by 2 fluorines. Okay, so each fluorine will get 1 electron. So thereby, for every 1 calcium, we will be having 2 fluorines. And what will be the compound formula? It will be CaF2. So here the electrovalence of calcium is positive 2 units, and fluorine, what is the electrovalence? It is negative 1 unit. So how do we get the formula of a substance based upon the electrovalence, like the way we'll study in our lower standards? So what is this called as? It is called as the crisscross method. So using crisscross method, we will be able to find the compound formula. How do we get it? If say the electrovalence of calcium is 2 plus and fluorine is 1 minus, we will do crisscross. So 1 will come here, 2 will go there. So what will be the compound formula? It will be CaF2. So that is how we'll get the formula of the compound. So this is how the Lewis and Kozel initial attempt in terms of explaining the chemical bonding has started. So Lewis and Kozel, initially they started working independently. Lewis kernel model and the Kozel postulates to explain the electrovalent bonding, so which amalgamated into the idea of the octet rule that both of them have jointly proposed. And the octet rule is based on the stability of the 8 electron structure in the outermost shell. So as we can see, the Lewis-Kozel approach, right, itself has got limitations in terms of addressing the chemical bonding comprehensively. Why? Because we even gave the reason. So the idea of outermost shell electrons only participating in chemical bonding, right, is something that will be challenged when it comes to the chemical bonding of the D and F block elements, because the D block elements, right, if you talk about say iron, copper, in case of the D block elements or scandium, the n-1 d electrons, which we'll call them as the inner shell d electrons, they also will participate in the chemical bonding. So we'll talk about this in a little while, but they also will be able to participate in the chemical bonding, and that is something that is not going to be explained based upon the Lewis and Kozel theory. Why? Because the theory is based upon the outermost shell electrons only participate in the chemical bonding. And the another thing is this theory was able to explain the idea of electrovalent bonding, or what we'll later start calling as ionic bonding. But in terms of explaining the concept of sharing of electrons, right, a modified theory based upon the Lewis postulates is proposed by Langmuir, and the Langmuir-Lewis theory, or the Lewis-Langmuir theory, right, is the theory that we will be talking about in explaining the covalent bonding. So that we'll see in the next part video.